welcome to another beautiful episode of Shoes Off Talk.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
I'm I'm liking this TikTok, man. The TikTok, they in here.
They
They are
flooding
in
it. They
here.
flooding
Yeah,
it
they
up.
are.
Okay,
Okay,
TikTok.
TikTok. All right. What up, Talk? What you mean? Who's that? You know who this is. Um, Man, we have a very interesting topic today, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
super excited about it. We kind of talk around it. We talk about relationships. We talk about both platonic, both uh, spiritual relationships. We talk intimate relationships. Um, Now we're going to um, talk about why marriages are so devalued.
Mm. Okay.
Um, Floyd, we'll start with you. Why are marriages so devalued?
Well, um, hmm. You know what? I'm gonna go back on this one. Back in the day, marriage was basically a must, right? So in the earlier years, it was like a rite of passage. It was like something that was, it wasn't optional, you know, like it is now. But now you have people with that mindset of it's it's about them. It's not about what we can do together. It's more about what I can do for me. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's what can I prioritize my growth, my career, my freedom, which is great. You do those things, but as a married couple, you do those things together as well because that's how you grow. You know, but if you're only thinking about yourself, of course it's going to be devalued. But yeah, that's
So, so is it because um, people are getting married for the wrong reasons?
I wouldn't say for the wrong reasons. I would just say that they get married because it's the thing to do. It's the thing that they really want to be with this person, and so basically that's the high that's the what they call it the mark. That's what it has to be. Okay, if I really want to be with you and I see myself with you forever, yes, we're gonna get married. That's
Okay.
yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm a dig a little bit deeper. And those of you, the Facebook just came up, so the topic of today is
marriage is so devalued. Um, and Floyd, that was a great explanation. Um, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. I'm gonna give you two reasons why I think marriages are um, probably more devalued now over the last 10 years, probably than they've ever been.
Okay.
Probably one of the main reason is marriages are now more transactional than they are anything else.
Okay.
Um, One example I can give is um, even living abroad or deciding to live abroad. If you're not currently married, living abroad, men and some women are finding it um, better when it comes to quality of men and women to find someone that lives outside of the country. And so I think what ends up happening with that is the marriage starts off transactional because in order for that person to bring whoever their significant other back to the U.S., um, they get married.
Okay.
And so that's a transaction. Now, they may do it with the intent of having it last a lifetime, but when when you do something like that and it's more transactional, because you got to look like, it's not like you're going to live over there for you've lived over there for a ton of time, um and you develop feelings, emotional ties, and all of these different things to foreigners, so to speak. Um, you're bringing them back on the heels of you getting married to them, hoping that this marriage turns into something more meaningful. So that in its way, and it's more of, I've seen it more with guys going to foreign countries, marrying foreign women, and in order for them to get the proper paperwork, they marry them to bring them back.
Yeah.
Um, and they may not have had the idea that I'm marrying you to spend the rest of my life. It's really to get you over here to the U.S. and then we figure it out from there. So that's kind of like the transaction that I'm talking about. But we can go even deeper with the transaction, because even in the U.S., um, there are people that get in relationships for uh, financial benefits.
Right.
I think the worst part of that is when you marry somebody with the intent of that being your person, and then it turns into transaction. And what I mean by that is like I said, you marry somebody with the intent that where this is going to be my life partner. Things don't work out that way, and you have kids. And now all of a sudden, we are of the mindset that we don't want our kids raised in single parent houses. It's better to do it together than it is apart. So now the things that had you yoked together, the intimacy and all the things that bind a marriage or relationship, you no longer have that. So now it's more of, you pull your weight, I pull my weight. We'll take care of the kids. We won't have none of the stuff in between, but we like the look of that. And it really is more of the facade of being married than it actually is being married. And that is transactional.
Yeah, I mean, you have it to the point that you're now, like you said, the whole financial situation, and that's one of the biggest
And that's
one.
the worst. By the way,
know,
that's the worst thing that you can do.
you know. And so with that, it's like now you're saying to yourself, okay, now I really don't want to be with this person, but it's too expensive to live. It's too expensive to do this on my own. So yeah, I'm gonna come into an agreement with them, and then we'll do it like that. It will be a transaction.
Yeah, and that's why I've never agreed with the stay-at-home mom. You don't do anything, just take care of the kids, and either, and there's stay-at-home dad. So it goes both ways, to where your responsibility is take care of the house, take care of the kids. I've never agreed with that, because for me, when that happens, you kind of dimmed your light. So anything you were ambitious about prior to that,
Okay.
you now have to either put that on hold or just not do it altogether. So you become this self-absorbed person in your marriage and your relationship, and you completely forget about who you are and what you wanted for yourself.
So are you saying that's more of a like it becomes like, okay, since I'm putting my life on hold and everything, and then the kids grow up and they're now out of the house, so now it's time for me to get my life together.
Yeah, and that sucks, because now you're on a timetable. Not only are you battling your biological clock, you're actually battling the clock,
Right.
your life clock.
Yeah.
And so and then with that, times are changing. Things that you remembered how to do, now it's being done differently. So now you're having to really like start from square one. Not to mention, if anything happens in a relationship, and God forbid you have to be by yourself, you're inept. Like I mean, you have the basic life skills, but you haven't set yourself up for a career, or you have anything on the side that you can now turn to. and that's what really keeps people stuck in relationships is they allow somebody to control aspects of their life, and now this person, I'm not saying that they would use it against them, but if it doesn't work out, now you're like, okay, we can figure this out. Let's just stay together and we'll figure it out, which means that, which in essence what you're saying, I can't figure this out on my own. So whatever we need to do for us to stay together, let's do it. And so that leads to the lying, the cheating, and all the other things, because now you lost, like that person's lost respect for you.
Well, see, yeah, because then when you have that control like that,
And that's all it is control.
when you have that control, you're now been able to dictate how things are going to happen. And you know, you don't even have to say, okay, let's stay together. You don't have to do all that because the person already going to know that they can't make it on their own. Because what? They have no job, they have no money, they have anything. And so now it's like, and they're dependent on that person. You know, so when they're dependent on that person, they're now having that time now to say, okay, well, I don't have nothing else to do. I don't have no skills. I didn't finish school, so I don't have anything.
Yeah, I I've seen it too many times where I've known women that are in relationships like that, and then when it ends, they're just lost. They're lost.
Yep.
And so what happens in a lot of cases is how they move on is they search for that partner that's going to allow them to be that again.
Exactly.
And so they start looking for guys to take care of them. And some of that stuff is hereditary because they probably saw mom do it. They probably saw mom being taken care of, and she was a stay-at-home mom, and she didn't have to worry about anything. And I've never agreed with that. I don't care if you have a hobby that makes you money on the side while you're at home, which allows you the freedom to also take care of your kids and spend time with your kids. I would never, I don't care how much I love a person, I would never give them that kind of control of me because that's really, in essence, I don't care how you phrase it, how you gift wrap it, it's control.
But see, you have to look at it too. On the flip side of that, there are some men or women who rather be a stay-at-home mom or dad. You know.
Oh yeah,
You know,
most people do.
So and then because they be like, well, I'll stay at home, I'll take care of the kids and all that. Okay, but then at the same time, it's like after a few years of that, then they're like, oh well, I need to get back to work. I can't be at home with the kids anymore. You know, because why? If that's hard, that's a lot of work to be home with the kids.
Yeah,
It's
that, I
like,
mean
man.
that's a job within itself. Like
Oh,
we
yeah.
ain't gonna sit here and fake the funk that
Oh,
being a stay-at-home parent is an easy job. That's not what I'm saying at all. That is a 24/7 job.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's work within itself. But if you decide that that's what you want to do, then you have to understand that you have to set yourself up. Um, and it's not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying that you need to have a plan B in case your relationship doesn't work out. No, you probably have led a life prior to you getting in this relationship where you were either in school, you were pursuing something career wise,
Right.
you were ambitious, you had plans for yourself, and now you've decided, okay, I've had kids. My husband wants me to be a stay-at-home wife, so I'll do that. The other thing that happens with that is if things go awry, there's a high level of resentment that comes in place, and typically, what ends up happening is that person ends up voicing that.
Mm-hmm.
You had me stay at home, and here it is. I supported you through your career, and I put my career on hold, or I walked away from my career, and for you to, and it just,
But see, on that same note, now I supported you through your career and all that. But then when I had my job and everything, and I helped you pay for your school to get your career, and I stayed at home so that you can do your job efficiently.
Yeah. It's in a lot of those cases, just making the commitment and the adjustment to take a step back and do something like that for your significant other while they pursue their lifelong dreams. I think it's selfless, but at the same time, I think it's not sensible, because the old school marriages, I really feel like they're gone.
They are.
They aren't coming back around.
No.
And the way people are wired now, man, I'm out here in the single world. And if I was out here looking for something, I'd be climbing a wall, because what I'm seeing in the way of what's out here as far as men and women, it's crazy out here in the single. It's just absolutely crazy. You go from one extreme to the other. There's either women out here that and men that are throwing themselves around to any and everybody, um, just to be wanted, jumping in and out of relationships. Every week they're posting about a guy that is their boo and all of this other stuff,
Hey,
or a
boo,
woman
boo.
that they're with and this and that, and or you have the extreme, that you have the bitterly broken man and woman that anytime you say anything about a relationship, they're bitter and they're broken, and they carry that even in conversations with people of the opposite sex, which lets you know that, okay, I see why you are single, just because of the way that you're wired. And it's just, like I said, it's one extreme to the other. You either have serial daters out here, or you have people that are just runaway brides that they have zero good to say about any of the opposite sex, based on their relationship history. And so, fortunate for me, I'm not out here looking for anything. I'm definitely not. I say this all the time. I've had this conversation with you. I've had this conversation with everybody else. I just recently had somebody ask me, "Do you think that you'll ever want to be in another relationship?" And my answer is simple. I'm not avoiding a relationship at all. If I get into a relationship, it's going to organically happen. Um, and it's going to hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm not going to know where it came from. Um, but I'm not out here. You never should be looking for it. But I don't even think I'm putting myself in situations where most people would think that's how a relationship would kindle. Because I'm moving around too much. I'm not in one place. I'm moving around too much. I'm traveling a lot. I have a lot going on in my life, and people typically would judge that, since you're moving around so much, like,
You don't have time.
you don't have time and this and that. But the thing about it is, it goes without saying, and it's the old saying that people will make time for what they want.
And the thing about it too, you have to look at it too, is that you're gonna you can move around as much as you want to, because one of that one that's
Don't
gonna
find you.
Yep, and they're gonna stop you dead in your tracks.
It's gonna find
and
you.
you're gonna be like, okay, what was that hit me with a ton of bricks?
Yeah, and a lot of times it's that one that is the boomerang. You throw it away, comes right back. You throw it over here, comes right back. And I understand that. And like I said, I'm not avoiding it. I don't even have a problem having that conversation. But my initial conversation with anybody that's talking relationship, my initial conversation is, I'm not looking for a relationship.
But see, and that's one thing about it. When you're constantly putting that out there, okay, You're constantly putting it out there. I'm not looking for a relationship. Nope. That's nope, I'm not looking for one. Nope.
I ain't saying it like that.
Nope. Stay away from me. I'm not looking for one.
No,
No.
I'm not saying it like that.
But just the whole process of I'm not looking for one. Okay.
Well, and the only reason why it keeps coming up like that is like you can't ask to hang out with somebody without them saying, "Is this a date?" No, I just asked you, "Hey, you want to go grab something to eat?"
Right.
Hey, you want to go check out a movie?
Okay.
Are we calling this a date? No, I know how to use the verbiage date if it's a date. It's not a date. I don't want labels. I don't like labels. We're not gonna do labels.
See, women, that's what
women
they
like.
want.
Yeah,
they
like
want
that. They like that.
Yeah, we went out on the date, and I'm gonna see what he's doing later on today.
No, and you know why I don't like using the verbiage and titles? Because there's an expectation that comes with titles. And I would like to hang out with you with no expectation.
Okay.
With no title. I think that sets the foundation of something organically happening. But when you are putting titles on it, oh, this is our second date, or this is our third date, you start hearing them numbers. You get up to the 8th date with a woman, she's like, well, we're 8 dates in, so what are we calling this?
Well, see, and that's the thing, though, Tim. That's the thing, though. You have to look at it because women of today, I'm not gonna say like not all women, but a lot of these women of today, they want that label. They need that label.
You're not gonna do that,
because one thing about it, if they get it, if they say, okay, well, okay, Tim, let's go hang out, but then at the end of the day, that hangout is gonna be like, okay, so what are we doing next? When are you gonna call me next? Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. All right, cool.
That's why I think it's important not to have labels and titles on it because, like I said, it becomes an expectation. What's up, Tracy?
Right,
Tracy, are you wanting to come? Are you wanting to chime in as a guest? Is that what I'm seeing? I'm getting used to this TikTok stuff. I ain't really too well versed on it. I had to use a different phone because I couldn't figure out how to take them that lipstick and blush and eyelash filter off my other phone. I don't know how it got on there. I think somebody was playing.
No, he was playing with it.
Somebody was playing an evil joke on me. It looked like she was asking to chime in as a guest, but anyway. But yeah, that's why I don't like using labels. I don't like keeping track of dates.
Because look at it. If you're like hanging out, the thing is about it like this, okay? If you're hanging out with Susie and then you connect with Tiffany and then you connect with
did you really just say that last
well,
time?
I'm just saying then you connect with Latasha, then you connect with I don't know, baby girl,
Just stop. Just stop with the names. It's getting progressively worse.
But you start connecting with these women, and then it's like now all of them are going to be on that same page. One is going to be like, okay, yeah, we just hanging out. The other going to be like, yeah, we just hanging out. The other one's going to be like, yeah, we just hanging out. But then at the same time, they're all saying, oh, yeah, we just hanging out. And then at the end of the day, they're going to expect that hangout to be more hangout.
That and I think what we have to have people understand is like we talk about this all the time. The key to anything when it comes to any kind of relationship, any kind of business, is communication.
Right.
And I feel like, and we all know that women want to hear what they want to hear. You can tell them a million times what the expectation is. If your actions aren't defined by your communication, that's leaving too much to the imagination for a woman.
Yeah.
Because with a woman, if your actions say one thing, no really does mean yes, and yes does really mean no.
Because why? Why do they mean it like that?
Because there is an expectation that a woman has when she spends quality time with a man, and if there's multiple times spent with a man, there's for them that's levels, and you start off with the first date. This is the level, and then.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the only thing we can do as men is communicate, and then you have something to fall back on, and you can say, "Look, I told you."
But is it more of when you say communicate? Is it more of what you want out of it, or
It's gotta be. It's gotta be an individual thing. Because I can't base my future off of what someone else wants if it's not in line with what I want for myself.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that's a problem too, but that's a conversation for another day. Um, is I think, and I'm just gonna say this, and I'll leave it alone. I think what ends up happening when you start dating, um, somebody expectations start exceeding yours, and before you know it, you're trying to meet their expectations instead of your own. Um,
Yeah,
and
I can see that. I can
it
see
really
that.
depends on what you have gotten out of, or what your life has looked like prior to that. But for me, I'm very vocal about it. Like I'm not sitting there like driving it home. Look, I'm not, but I'm very specific in when I speak to a woman, like, hey, I just want to hang out. Let's hang out, get to know each other.
But then when we go back to the whole concept of marriages being devalued, I mean that also can play a part of it because of your
It plays a significant part of it. It plays a very significant part of it but the significant positive part of it is you're actually taking the time to get to know someone without putting a label.
Okay.
And that's the reason for me is I want to use this time without any titles, without any expectation, to get to know you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm evaluating you, which I hope you're evaluating me too when we're hanging out.
Right.
Because when there's no titles, there's no expectation. So if we get into our fourth date and you see something in me that turns you completely off, there's no love lost.
Mm-hmm.
There was no title here.
Right.
We weren't at a certain point in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There was no titles. So if you decide that you don't want to hang out with me, my breath stinks, or I chew with my mouth open, or whatever the reason is, then that's up to you. And you don't have to come up with this elaborate excuse, or what most men and women do is just avoid a person instead of having a conversation with them. You don't have to do that. So if that is set from the jump that, hey, I just want to hang out. Let's just get to know each other. No titles, no expectations. Let's just hang out. And then the pressure also isn't there. The pressure from you to them or them to you is not there. Because if you start putting titles on it, you gotta think, man, I need to act a certain way. What do I need to do on this date? What do I need to wear? Do I need to buy her something? All of these things are going through your head when there's a title, when there's an expectation. And when you don't have an expectation or a title, you can just be you.
Right.
I don't know what is a better way to get to know someone than to know their authentic self.
That's it. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, we're just having a conversation and stuff, and they're telling me some things about what's going on with them in their life, about their relationships and stuff like that. And I'm like telling them, like, look, the best person you can be is you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So no matter what they think about you, what do you think about yourself? Are you being the best image of yourself? Because no matter if they don't like you, then you ain't supposed to be with them.
Yeah.
So I mean, you stay you be you, and if you don't know you, you get to know you.
Yeah, and that's so important you say that, and I'm so glad you say that. Is when you are going out and hanging out with somebody, you're not only evaluating them, but you're really getting to know yourself better. Because what ends up happening is, say, like for me, I haven't been in a relationship in 2 years. And I know that I'm not saying that that's a long time, but for there's people that have been single for way longer than that.
Oh yeah.
But for me, if I'm hanging out with you and there's no expectation and there's no title, I get to find out if I'm ready for a relationship. I get to see my interaction with you and say, hey, if my interaction with you, I'm constantly seeing characteristics in you that I saw in my ex, that means that I'm not ready. Because now I'm judging you based on my prior relationships. That means I'm not ready.
But the thing is, though, is it more so you're not ready, or is it more so is that they have the same characteristics, which could be possible?
It could be possible, but if you're hanging out with somebody and it's that early and there's no expectation and there's no title, it's kind of early for you to start making the comparison of a person that you really just started hanging out with than your ex. You really didn't get to know your ex until a few years in. So you mean to tell me on the first few dates you now have the ability to compare somebody to your ex? That just means that you're not ready. You're not ready because when you're ready, you're going to judge that person off of them, not your past. And that's probably the biggest sign that you're ready is if you can hang out with somebody without rekindling bad experiences from your ex. And it's tough because it's tough to differentiate the two.
But see, are we really going to be ready though?
Oh yeah,
I mean, because the thing is that even though we get to a point,
I'm gonna tell you the key to that.
We get to like 4 or 5 years in, 7 years in, 10 years in, and stuff, and then we're like, okay, I'm ready. But then at the same time, that person, that girl, she starts to do some stuff and everything. You like, you know what? I dealt with that before. Nope, can't do it.
This is the thing is, and it's kind of off topic and it's not because it's relatable to what we're talking about. You know how people say that respect is earned? Respect shouldn't be earned.
Okay.
And that's the problem with the world. Respect should be given to everybody. Right. It's up to them to lose it.
Like everybody started in the grade with the game.
Because when you say respect is earned, that means that you have to do something to earn it. And if you're not anybody that I spent a great deal of time, will they really earn your respect? And we're just talking as a human.
Yeah.
So respect should be given to everybody. You need to respect everybody.
Well, yeah, of course.
People's actions and their interactions are the determining factor whether or not they keep that respect. So I don't like that saying respect is earned. No, respect is kept. And so that's the same thing in relationships is you have to judge people based on them, not what happened to you. And if you're not ready to judge a person based on them, then you're not ready. And there's no timetable of when you will be ready. But I'm gonna tell you the one characteristic that you will grow into that will let you know when you're ready. When you love yourself more than anything else. When you undoubtedly love yourself more than you love anybody else, except for maybe mom and your kids. And that's a big thing because when you love yourself that much, you won't allow yourself to go through certain things. You won't allow people to infiltrate your life that take your peace.
So, do you feel at the end of the day, after everything that's just said and everything that went on, do you feel like is marriage still worth it?
I think with a lot of the conversations that we're having now, marriage is also, and coming from the perspective of probably what me and you know more is, there's no spirituality in marriage. There's no spirituality in marriages anymore.
Right.
It's everything but spirituality. Because that is the one connector. When you have spirituality in your relationship, you and your partner becomes equally yoked. And what I mean by equally yoked is you guys both have the same and your relationship is God and spiritually based. Um, because when it comes to the devil attacking relationships, they're gonna attack the head of the household.
Right.
Because the body goes where the head goes.
Who's the head of the house?
It's the man.
Hmm.
It's the man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the man. It's the man. I know we live in a day and age where women are bosses and they don't need a man and that's the other reason why marriages are devalued because there's a power struggle. We think that things like finances, we think that those are the things that play a determining factor whether or not you have the ability to head your house. And that is the biggest falsehood that there is because women have fought for so long for equality and liberty, liberties that men have is now that they have it, they think that that's what makes you the head of the household. That's what makes you equal to a man, and it's not. It's not. It's not the physical strength of a man. It's the mental and spiritual and emotional strength of a man. And that is the other problem is we are raising emotionally, spiritually, and mentally weak men. And that makes women want to step up as heads. And that's parents' fault. That's so there's a lot of give and take and a lot of struggles and a lot of tug of wars that's going on. But it all starts with how we're raising our kids. That's the reason why. That's another major reason why marriages are devalued. You no longer have the strong man anymore. When the man of the house is wearing the same clothes that the women of the house wear, that's a problem.
But then at the same time, you have it that the
I know
woman.
I know I step on some toes.
Yeah,
I know people gonna message me, but
you
I
have
don't care.
you have it that the woman herself. I'm gonna flip on the woman now. You have the woman who's not really doing anything. Only thing they're doing is taking care of themselves. Okay, what I mean by that, it's like, okay, we understand there's a man and a woman, they share the household, they share everything, But if you share everything, the responsibilities, then okay, shouldn't the woman cook some food besides the man? Shouldn't the woman wash the dishes besides the man? Shouldn't the woman take out the trash besides the man? Since we're living in today's world society now,
I don't think there's no delegated responsibilities of duties when it comes to the household.
okay,
I think it's what you're available for. If the man gets off work early, put on the apron and go cook.
okay,
Have food ready for your wife when she gets home.
right,
If the man is at home and dishes are in the sink, wash the dishes.
right.
Like it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science at all. It's not a woman's responsibility to clean the house. It's not her responsibility. Men are more than capable of cleaning the house. And it goes back to parenting. My mom taught me how to clean the house. My mom taught me how to iron clothes. My mom taught me how to wash clothes. My mom taught me how to cook.
And that's one thing that's the same thing. My mom, she said, when I was 11 years old, I can tell you this now. When I was 11 years old, my mama said, I'm going to teach y'all how to cook. As a man, you're going to take care of yourself because the women that's growing up these days, they're not going to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself. So I'm going to teach you how to cook, how to wash clothes, how to do everything you need to do to take care of yourself.
I say this, and I'll continue to say this. People can disagree with me all you want. The most attractive thing about a man to a woman or a woman to a man is to have the other person feel that I don't need you for anything. Because when you can make someone feel that, they understand that you being with them is a choice. And that is one of the most attractive things. is to know that if I meet a woman, in my head, I'm thinking like once I got to know her and see how she moves, and this woman don't need me.
Mhm. Yeah. She's about her business.
She chose me.
That's right. That's right.
Bro, you know how attractive and how much of a turn on that is to know that you are with and you met someone that does not need you for nothing. And it's not anything that she has to say because you shouldn't say that. But to give off the air that I don't need you for anything, I choose you.
I like being around you. I like your company. I like all that stuff. Yes, I choose you to be with. Man. Yeah.
Look, some of my people on here, he said his wife, these are very dear friends of mine. I love them to death. I first met them because I'm a season ticket holder and their seats were right next to mine. And we just became like family over the years. We stay in touch. And he said, he said, Carmen, who's his wife, uh, he said, she doesn't need me, but she'll tell me she doesn't need me.
Right?
I love her because
Yeah.
I can hear Carmen say that. I don't need you. And I just said that you shouldn't tell anybody that. That's the air and that's the feeling that you should give off. You know, by your confidence and how you walk, how you carry yourself. But it is true, man. That's the most attractive thing about a man to a woman or a woman to a man is to have it in your heart and to understand that they don't need you for anything. They choose you. This woman or man can have whoever they want, or they could choose to be by themselves and be just fine. But they chose me, and I think that is other reason why marriages are getting devalued because forget. We forget.
A whole lot.
We forget.
Yeah.
We forget about the things that made me attracted to that person. We forget about the things that
I wouldn't say we didn't we forget. I just say that we just don't think
I'm
need
letting
to
them off the
do.
hook. I'm letting them off the hook. They didn't forget. They got comfortable.
Yep.
They got comfortable.
Exactly.
They're no longer doing the things that was attractive. They're no longer doing the things that the partner enjoyed. They're just going through the motions. Oh, I'm married now. There's no need to do this. And it's devaluing relationships.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand, as cruel as this sounds, what you won't do, somebody else will. And we just had a conversation last week about polygamy.
There it is.
And a lot of people don't like to have that polygamy conversation, but
It's there.
if you're in a relationship and you started off on fire and you were doing this and catering to this person and making them feel special, and now all of a sudden you just going through the motions and you don't care how you look, you don't care what you say, you don't care how you carry yourself, that ain't gonna last too long. Because you got men and women that would love to be in your position.
That will do what they want.
Yeah, well, that's a conversation for another day, so we ain't gonna
Yeah.
cross over that. But you okay, saying that why are marriages so devalued, we're gonna end with this. What are some of the things that we could do to increase the value?
I would say, like we just got to mentioning, I would say more so of getting back to that point of that communication. I would say more so of doing things like we would do on our own. I would say get those things, doing things together, making things happen together, so that your marriage can be valued as that like it's supposed to be, you know, um, making sure that when it comes to the finances, we're doing those things together. We understanding that yeah, she probably made 3 times more than you do and everything, but at the same time, she knows the position when it comes to okay, this is my man, he's the head of my house, but I'm going to respect that,
Yeah.
you know. And so I would just say, just coming together, communicate, um, know what things are supposed to be in place and what's not supposed to be, and make it happen.
I think there's one. The main thing is we got to get back to adding spirituality in our relationship because that's so deep. Um, because I think once you either get back that spiritual connection or create that spiritual connection, everything kind of it becomes uh, um, an adhesive, and it starts bringing a relationship back together. But another important thing is communication has to be better. Um, the other thing is there can never be a me or I. It has to be us. It has to be we.
Yeah.
And we live in a day and age where we want the facade of what a relationship looks like, but don't want the actual put in the work that it actually takes. We want the world and everybody on social media to see us in the biggest light possible. But when it comes behind the scenes, we're not what we're portraying. And the other thing is we got to stop thinking that everybody's 50% in a relationship is going to look the same.
Mm.
First of all, let's go ahead and dispel that because there's no such thing as 50%. So we'll dispel that part of it. But we can speak in generalities and say that whatever your part is, it can look different because 50, 60, 70% may not look like 50% of the beard, 70% of the beard, 80% of the beard. Your 50, 60, 70 could be me inspiring you to be great in all aspects of your life. Being that rock, that pillar for you in life. It's not about pulling receipts to see who paid for what. That's not the basis of a relationship, and that doesn't mean that you're a provider.
That's a rumor.
And if you think that that's the definition of a provider is how much someone could put in on bills, how much somebody can pay for stuff, then you actually have no idea what a provider is.
Right.
So I would go back to understanding the basis of relationships, of marriage, because I think what that'll do too is that'll remind you of what your why was, the reason why you got married, but also it'll let you know if that's something you want to stay in. Because I know a lot of people grew up that divorce is spoke highly against by that. But if you read the Bible and understand the Bible, there are certain circumstances that fall into play.
Right.
And a lot of those circumstances fall into play prior to you getting married. So if you really look at the Bible, the reason why you got married, you probably shouldn't have got married in the beginning. If we're really going to go by what the Bible says, I was that. And I say that because that was me. I grew up as a preacher's kid. My dad's a pastor. My mom was a missionary. And so when I got married, I went through a lot in my marriage, but I stayed in it because I knew what the Bible said or what I thought the Bible said about marriage. And not until I had a conversation with my dad and he got to see my relationship from the inside out. And he pulled me to the side. He's like, why are you staying in this relationship? I said, because I was raised that you don't get a divorce. My dad broke it down to me. And my biggest thing was I didn't want my kids to be raised in a single parent house. And so for me, it was really more about my kids because I wasn't so ingrained in the Bible where that was the main factor for me staying in a relationship. I just didn't want my kids being raised in a single parent house. And my dad pulled me off to the side. He's like, "What you think these kids are seeing with you and your wife? Do you really think that their takeaway from this is what a marriage should look like? So you're actually doing more harm to your kids being in the relationship and staying in the marriage than you would be if you were on the outside." That's all it took for me. That's all it took for me. For me to get that understanding.
Get that way out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it may have sounded like a scapegoat for me, but you got to understand that spirituality, the Bible, has been an intricate and such a huge part of my life, my
Right.
whole life. It is the reason why I moved the way I moved. It's the reason why my life looks different than a lot of people's lives that I know. Is that my life is not based off what I want. My life is based off what God wants. And so that's why I stay rooted and grounded. But man, another amazing topic today.
Yes, sir.
I hope that what we said is something that kind of stirred your spirit and not having you look sideways at your relationship or your marriage, but to bring it back around of what your why was.
Yeah.
And have you really start really evaluating your relationship and saying, hey, am I really doing the new things that I need to do in this relationship to have a successful marriage? Is the things that I'm doing in this relationship, is it the value in my relationship? What are some of the things that I can do to increase the value in my relationship? Or is this a temporary situation that I turned into something permanent? And it wasn't the intent to be permanent. God brings people in your life for 1 or 2 reasons: to show you what you deserve and show you what you don't deserve. Choose wisely. And we're going to end on that note. That was a mic drop.
Yep. Mic drop.
But we appreciate all you guys tuning in. TikTok. Oh, we will be. We will. I'm loving the response that I'm getting from TikTok. I'm still figuring out. So if y'all see something on here that buttons I might have hit wrong, and looks like I'm receiving some kind of payments and stuff, and y'all don't tell me I could be monetizing this. Oh, suck it, duck it, quack, quack. But man, I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. Like I said, I don't take it for granted the time that is given to me by you all. I understand the most precious commodity is your time. Once that is given, that is taken, it's the one thing that you can't replenish and you can't get back. So I don't take it for granted. Very appreciative. To my TikTokers, you guys scroll on over to YouTube, Shoes Off Talk on YouTube, and subscribe, please. We're not so much about numbers. We're more about the ability to be able to do more with our platform. We would like to open this platform up to other people that need a voice, that need a platform. And so the numbers allow us to do more, gives us more access. So go on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys tuning in.
Any updates?
Oh, so for some of my fellows out there that like to talk sports, we have a special guest that will be creating his own podcast with our help. And I'm super excited about it because his guests that he will be bringing on will be the very people that we talk about in our conversation, like the GOAT debate. So we will get firsthand from the people that was actually there that will be right here in this studio. I can't say who it is. We're working behind the scenes with him in everything from getting the set up and going to his marketing stuff. But I'm excited about it because sports is a conversation that I like to have, and who's better to have it with than the people that were actually there,
Right. Exactly.
and that are subject matters regarding the topic. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, stay tuned. Was there anything else for? Okay. Well, how we end all shows: love, peace, and soul.
Take your shoes off at the door, yeah, we get real. Talking all the things they say you shouldn't feel. From locker room truths to capitalize. That you sleep into the questions, who's this guy? Shoes off, lean in, take a breath, take a seat. Where the truth walks free and the wrong minds meet. No filters, no front, just the heart of the talk. Welcome to the space where the brave ones walk. Religion and redemption, business and the hustle. Life hits hard, we unpack the struggle. Mental health, money, trauma, and dreams.